this is why we have hearings. I'm a big fan of the cancer screening, but, I am concerned, and we're going to have some discussions about the age limitation being 67. That concerns me because by the time this actually gets to be law, I might not qualify. But nonetheless, this is why you have hearings, so you can hear the good and the things that might need to be improved in the bills that are before us. I am a big fan, Mr. Royce, for the reasons you stated. There are a number of cancers out there that you don't find until the last minute, and unfortunately, I'm told that pancreatic is one of the big ones. Ovarian is another, as I'm told, and you can't find them to the last minute. So I'm okay with false positives as long as people understand there are a lot of false positives. I think we can deal with that. People need to understand when they're doing these tests that there are more false, and I know Mr. Ezell's going to tell us they're not that high on the false positives, but I'm okay with false positives as long as people know, get the additional testing, and that you may find out that you don't have that cancer. Because if you don't have the cancer, you don't need to get the treatment. But Mr. Ezell, I'm going to ask you about the false negatives that we've heard about, because false negatives concern me, because there are too many people that will get a false negative and think they don't need to pay attention then to whatever other symptom they might be having. So if you will explain to us about the false negatives and how you can safeguard against a potential false negative.
I think what is most exciting about these technologies, if you think about the car today, the car has become a computer on wheels. It goes through an innovation cycle very rapidly. So as we are now bringing information technologies like machine learning and artificial intelligence, it puts us on that kind of exponential scale, like we've seen in semiconductors, where their power doubles every 2 years as our cost halves. So what I'm driving at is that the nature of these information technology learning-based systems are going to give us the ability over time to address these mutual challenges of the type 1 and type 2 errors, right? To
so
reduce the false positives.
If I might simplify your analogy, what you're saying is when we first invented the automobile, all kinds of things were developed, and they didn't even know they needed a windshield at first until they started driving a little bit faster, and all kinds of bugs and debris started getting in people's eyes, and then they created a windshield. But the early cars didn't have it, and until we get the devices on the market, we can't figure out how we can make them better because we don't know what all the difficulties might be, but at least we're getting something on the market. And correct me if I'm wrong, because there isn't anything out there now to test for most of these cancers, you're just flying blind. And at least you have, whether it be a false positive or a false negative, but I'm more concerned about the false negatives and giving people assurances, then you got to get them out there. We can get them better as we move along. I agree with that. But we probably need to have some very significant discussions about how we warn people about both false positives and false negatives. False positives, you get more tests. False negatives doesn't mean you don't get more tests if you're showing symptoms of something. Is that correct?
Yes. I'd also add maybe 2 more points to that.
Yes,
first, right now, the way we do cancer detection in the United States or cancer screening is like we have 5 fishing rods that we cast out for prostate, colorectal, cervical, high-risk lung. So we're just using 5 fishing poles to try to catch cancer. What these multi-cancer early detection tests give us the ability to do is to cast a broader net that will hopefully enable us to capture many more different types of cancer.
So it's getting close to the end of my time. I will ask this. It's a whole lot cheaper to do the tests and catch the cancer early than it is to catch the cancer late, isn't it?
Right. In the Medicare population, it's 7 times cheaper treatment at the earlier stages than when cancer is caught at the later stages. Also, maybe just one more key point about these tests is that they're specifically designed to try to to identify the circulating tumor DNA that floats in the body. They're looking for the most aggressive cancers that are shedding the most ctDNA. If you look at pancreatic cancer, it can progress through disease states as quickly as 1 stage per year. And these aggressive cancers shed many cells into the body that should help us to be more specific in what we're looking for in these tests and to decrease those false negative rates you're addressing.
All right. Well, we've got to get these bills into the right order. I appreciate all of your testimony in helping us do that. And with that, I yield back.